In this video, I'll show you how to open and review the various reports in BuildingWorks. I'll demonstrate how to edit reports by adding and removing data fields. I'll also talk you through printing and exporting reports. Before opening your reports, it's a good idea to navigate to the Build program and set up your Gantt chart. Once you've done that, the task date information will filter through to your reports. Click Reporting on the Project Explorer to navigate to the list of reports. The Estimate Completion Checker dialog box pops up, prompting you to check your estimate. The traffic lights on the left highlight any potential issues in the estimate. Click along the tabs and check whether there are any omissions or errors in your estimate. On the estimating calculators used within the Estimate tab, the Notes column describes the potential error or omission. If you think you may have missed an item, you can click to open the estimating calculator or the drawing to add the item. Once you're happy that the element is complete, tick the Completed tick box. Check whether there are any elements you've omitted completely from the Commonly Used Estimating Calculators tab. If any estimating calculators aren't required, click the Not Required tick box. Finally, check if there are any estimating calculator names you need to update on the Estimating Calculator Names tab. Once you've finished working through the checklist, click Close. Now the list of reports opens on the main window. Let's take a look at the Sales Price Including Profit report. Double-click on a report to open it. If the data in any of the columns isn't displaying in full, you can auto-fit the data. Hover your cursor over the edge of the column until a double-headed arrow appears, then double-click to auto-fit the text. Let's repeat this process for the Total Cost Including Markup column. If you click the Report Settings button, you can edit the layout of your report. For example, you can change the font colour, style and size of the report header. You can also edit the page footer, report footer and the main body of the report. On the Page Footer tab, you might want to use the Data Type drop-down box to display, say, the page number or the company name. Once you're happy with the report settings, click OK. Once you're ready to print the report, click the Print Preview button. If you want to alter the paper size, orientation or margins, click the Page Setup button. By default, all reports are set to print to A4, but you could select another size if, for example, you had an A3 printer. You can also change the orientation and set the margin size. You can also change the scale manually if you need to. Click the Scale button, and here you can enter a percentage to scale the report by, or use the option to fit the report to a page width. Once you're happy with the way the report is displaying, click the Print button. Select the printer you want to use, enter the number of copies you want, and then click OK. Let's look at a more complex report. Another way of opening a report is to click the report name on the Project Explorer. Let's take a look at the material order schedule. All of the reports are pivot grid reports. They're divided into different areas. On the left-hand side of the screen is the row area. You can remove any fields you don't need from the row area by clicking and holding down the left mouse button on the row header and dragging the field to the top of the screen until the red delete icon appears. Then release the left mouse button. As you remove the fields from the report, the row area of the field list is updated to reflect the reports. Once you become more familiar with the reports, you can edit them by dragging fields on and off the different areas of the field list. In the middle of the screen is the data area. I'm going to remove some of the quantity and cost columns from the data area, so I'm left with just the resource total quantity and total cost. To remove these columns, drag the field names from the data header area, located at the top left of the report. Click and hold down the left mouse button and drag the field names off the report as before. You can see that as you remove the fields from the report, the data area on the field list is also updated. As before, you can expand the columns by hovering your cursor over the edge of the column, then double-clicking. You can also drag the column to the desired width. You can also expand or minimise the rows using the arrows. You can show or hide the totals for each field. Click the Pivot Grid Options button on the Report tab and untick Show Row Totals to hide the row totals. In addition, you can filter items within a field. Hover your mouse over a row header until the funnel icon appears. Then click the left mouse button. Tick or untick the boxes to show the items you want on the report. And then click OK. Using the field categories at the top of the field list, you can customise your reports to show the data just the way you want it. The fields are divided into several categories. If I open the Build Phase category by clicking the adjacent arrow, I can see all the field headers within that category. If I click and hold down the left mouse button on the Build Phase start date, I can drag it onto the row area of the report. When arrows appear, indicating where the column will be inserted, release the left mouse button. I'm going to use the Build Phase start date instead of order date, so I can remove the order date field by dragging it off the report. Take care when swapping columns, especially those relating to resource names and quantities, as some fields relate to whole pack sizes or quantity, for example the total sheet size for a sheet material, whereas others relate to normalised units, for example square metres for a sheet material. Hover your cursor over the field headers and read the tooltips which pop up to check you're using the correct fields. Once you've finished editing your report, you can export it by clicking the Export button on the Report tab. Select a file type from the drop-down menu. You might want to export the report into Excel, or as a PDF to send to a merchant or contractor. I'm going to export as an Excel file this time. Check you're happy with the file name and location, then click Save. The exported file will then automatically open. You can reset a report at any time by deleting it and importing it again from the library. Right-click on the report on the Project Explorer and select the Delete option. Click Yes to the dialog box asking if you want to delete the report. Then click the Import from Library button on the Reports tab. Select the report you want from the list and click OK. After a moment, the report will appear in your project. Over to you. Navigate to the Reporting feature on the Project Explorer and double-click on a report to open it. Auto-fit the data in the columns by hovering your cursor over the edge of a column until a double-headed arrow appears, then double-clicking to auto-fit the text. Remove row totals by clicking the Pivot Table Options button and unticking the Show Row Totals option. Remove fields from a report by dragging the field headers off the top of the report. Filter items within a row by hovering over a row header until the funnel icon appears, then clicking the left mouse button. Tick or untick the items you want to show or hide in the report. Add fields to a report by dragging field headers from the field list onto the report. Drop them onto the row area of the report or onto the data headers area to display them as a column in the data area. Print or export your report by clicking on the respective buttons on the Preview tab.